Hello, Black women. Hello, friends. You may have heard that I think it's time for Black women to prepare a plan to leave the United States of America. I live in Bogota, Colombia. But you may think when you hear that it's bad timing. If you think it's bad timing for you, you're in the right place. We're going to talk to some women today who have made a non traditional move or non traditional choice at a time when maybe you would think it was bad timing. Maybe you think it was too late or too early or too whatever. That's what we're talking about today. Welcome. My name is Stephanie Perry. I'm the co creator of Exodus Summit. And on this channel, I help Black women take career breaks and sabbaticals. I help Black women move abroad. I help Black women bop around the world as a nomad. If you're interested, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Hit the subscribe button and then turn on notifications, ring the notification bell. You'll be notified when I go live with a special guest. Hi, special guest.
Hello, how are you, Stephanie?
I'm great. Friends, meet Johnika. Johnika, do you want to take a second and introduce yourself?
Awesome. My name is Johnika Nixon, and I started a new business and it's been expanding, but I consider myself a pleasure architect and also a well being architect. So my business is called Architect Her Pursuit, and I do that as a sex coach.
Sex coach. And where are you in the world?
Right now, I am in the DMV, so in the United States, but I literally have only been here a week. I just got my residency in Mexico, so I'll be heading back soon.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us tell us about getting residency in Mexico. When did you think that that was a thing that you wanted to do? When did you start thinking that was a thing that you were interested in?
I can tell you the exact time. It was the summer prior to the most recent US elections. And
Hmm.
the heat was rising in a lot of spaces. And I started thinking about what does it mean to be here and my most happiest here, and I wasn't. I'd done a lot of traveling, but it had just been like maybe a month-long stay here and there. And I decided literally, I was at a conference that happened during the elections, and my airline ticket was already booked for Mexico. I was headed to Tulum at the time, and it was, I think the plane left on November the 10th. Like, I was so excited to leave because of all of the conference conversations around the elections. It was just like, oh, I made the right decision. So I booked a ticket, and I have been playing with that, and that was in 2023. And it took me about 2 years talking to multiple attorneys, figuring out what it meant, taxation, working abroad, remote. Would I work there? Would I keep a contractual job here? And everything finally worked out, but it took about two years.
Took about 2 years to plan it. Okay.
Mhm.
Why was this either bad timing or what was the timing concern that you had?
My mother. So I am a mom, and I also have a mother. My mother is aging, so there's a lot around caretaking. I actually brought my mom with me maybe like almost a year ago. So she moved to Mexico with me, and she ended up having some really interesting health dynamics. So she came
Yeah.
back to have a procedure that actually found out that she had cancer. So she had to stay in the States a little bit longer, and I've been traveling back and forth. So hence the reason that I'm back now. Two parts is caretaking for my mom and with my mom, but also my son lives full time with his dad. And that was an interesting transition to think as a mom, what would it mean to either take your son and still have joint custody, or choose to leave your son. My son is a teenager with his dad, and his dad is in a really, really good place. Um, Lots of family are here. My son likes structure. He's a bit conservative and he needs more of a traditional setting, but he visits me often. So he spends the summer with me, and that tends to work out. So balancing the what do I do with my family? How do I make this nuclear situation happen has been very interesting. But everything's worked out. I think that's the biggest thing is that we don't allow the universe to allow some things we want to control. And once I let go of control with my therapist,
Okay.
realizing what possibilities existed and then going deeper into my work as a sex coach, it's like you can't limit yourself and you just have to have open conversations with people. And my son understands, my mom understands. We have helpers around our community and our village who are here and who want to be here. And my mom is very supportive of me moving and shaking. So that's really helpful. And it's nice for her to see, right, that her daughter isn't constricting her life in the way that my mom kind of constricted her life, right? To take care and to see, oh, I like
That's
how
right.
you are able to balance the two.
That's right. So yeah, you have a lot of the things that Black women say are the reasons that they can't go. You
Yeah,
also had those reasons and you worked out the possibilities. I really like what you said, let go of control to live the possibilities. I really appreciate that. I wrote it down. so,
yeah.
so how's your mom doing?
My mom is doing great. She finished radiation and chemo, and literally Thursday, she drove herself to her doctor's appointment, and I was checking her location on my phone to make sure she was good. But she was good, and she made it back, and we talked about it. We've talked with our doctors. So yeah, it's about really trusting the process on both sides.
Good. Okay, we're glad to hear it. Can you give me 1 second? I think I know the Wi-Fi problem. I think it's on
Okay.
my end. Um, while I'm going to just leave you to talk for a second, can
Okay.
you talk to us about was it an easy decision for you to leave, to decide to not move back to the DMV once your mom was diagnosed and you knew that she was going to have to go through treatment and she was going back to the United States? Was it an easy decision for you to be like, but I'm still going to Mexico? Was there some conflict? Can you talk us through that? And I'll be back.
Absolutely. I think that there's always conflict, and conflict is okay. Change is okay. Something is asking us to grow and shift. And when we allow that opportunity to happen and say, well, I don't know what the future may hold, what do I do with the life that I've been given? And I try to balance a lot in this space of permission. What can I permit myself to do? What am I allowing myself to permit myself to do? And what would hinder that? I don't try to think about the opportunities on both sides. So I don't do a lot of pros and cons. I really look at permission and I ask my intuition to tell me what's happening. What would my mother really enjoy seeing? Right? What would the world enjoy seeing? What would I enjoy seeing? And that's me living my best life while also balancing them, right? Just like work, right? You have to have a time when you go to work, granted, but you also have a time when you take a rest from work, hopefully, right? Where we're not looking at our phones. So to constantly be thinking about others and what they need versus giving back to you and what you need, or thinking about the oxygen mask and how you fulfill that for yourself. Because I'm not going to be my best self if I don't center my pleasure. And Audre Lorde reminds us that's not being selfish, it's about preservation. So that was a huge turning point for me to say, I don't need to move back here. I don't need to live here. My mom can travel with me. I just need her to get better. And we have conversations about what that looks like. But really centering myself. And that was new for me after 40 to be like, I'm not gonna say the F word on here, but for real, F it, right? Like, what does it mean to live? And we live such constricted and contained lives, and we want to do so much. So we were looking on Instagram and seeing what everybody else is doing, and I wish, I wish, I wish. But what if we gave ourselves that opportunity, right? And that's really what permission is.
So this idea of
Oh,
of
I can't hear you.
centering
Sorry.
your oh, let's see. I think I fixed the problem. Let's see. Can y'all friends on YouTube, can y'all hear me?
I don't have any volume. I'm reading your lips a little bit.
Let's see. Friends on YouTube, can you tell me if you can hear me?
Mm-mm.
Let's see. Okay, they can hear me. Okay. Then
I'm
let's
gonna
see.
try to
I'm
update and
gonna
come
tell her
back
in
in.
the
Maybe that might work.
chat. They can can hear me. Okay, she'll be back. Okay, she'll be back. We don't, so the idea of being the focus of your own life, being the center of your own life, generally doesn't even occur to Black women because we're told that we're supposed to be the servant, the, okay, you can hear me now? Good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, I'm so glad that you said this because the idea of centering yourself in your own life, centering your own pleasure is so foreign to most Black women,
Yeah.
even grown-up adult Black women, because we're told that we're supposed to be doing for everyone else. And while we're able-bodied and in our right minds, we're supposed to be doing and giving to and sacrificing for everybody else, everybody else. It doesn't matter how many other people could contribute.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have if your child has a father, you're supposed to be the one to sacrifice your own desires, your own life, your own pleasure, your own dreams. And so I'm so glad that you're here. Let me get some water. And friends,
I
I'm glad
also
that y'all
wanted
are
to
sticking with us.
add,
Okay.
if I can,
Yeah.
Stephanie, there was the centering came from a health challenge, fibroids. And I remember
Mm.
being 38, I'm 43 now. And I remember being 38 and being in the gynecologist, and we had a really great conversation. And she said to me, while your health is great, your stats are great, these fibroids aren't great. And we have three options, and three of them, no, we have five options. Three of them were a hysterectomy. And I didn't realize how
Yeah.
many of my friends under 40, when I went back and went to my community and was like, oh my gosh, y'all, I had this fibroid conversation, and it was, three options on the table were hysterectomy. And many of them had said, oh yeah, girl, I had a, and I was like, hold, what? Wait, why aren't we talking about this?
Yeah.
And my physician said to me, you got some life decisions to make, right? Because fibroids often come emotionally from a state of repression, right? Which is us not giving ourselves permission. And that's really where this idea of pleasure came from for me, because I wanted to heal my fibroids naturally as much as possible without being
Okay.
invasive. And yeah, it's taken a journey to be like setting boundaries. What does this mean to set a goal? What does this mean not to look at someone else's life and wish that I was there, but congratulate them and then say, well, what would make me look just as joyful as them? Right?
Yes.
Just as joyful.
Yes.
What will make me look that way? So that was a huge turning point for me, was being 38 in that doctor's office, being offered a hysterectomy.
And so that's where your pursuit of pleasure started. And that
Yes.
has turned into a business for you that allows
Mhm.
you to live where you want to in the world.
Yeah, so I am a contractor, so I do HR and OD as a part of my job, but I also have other contracts that I pick up in addition to being a aerosomatic or erotic body worker and a cuddle therapist and a sex coach. So I do a
You have
lot
the
of
perfect
touching.
voice. You got the perfect voice for a cuddle therapist. Let me tell you
Oh,
that.
thank you. It's one of
For
my
everybody
favorites.
in
I
the chat
do.
is like, everybody's like, Jonika's voice is so soothing. That's
Oh, thank
amazing.
you.
I've linked to your Instagram a couple of times in the chat, and friends, I'll put it in the description of the video when we're done, as soon as we're done.
Awesome.
So, so timing for you was about making it the right time instead of waiting for it to be the right time. Is this a recurring
Yeah,
pattern in your life, or is this a new thing
it
that happens in your
is.
40s?
I want to say it's recurring. I was
Okay.
recently in Colombia and I felt like I was forced to be there. I actually was going for one of my final certification courses in Panama, and the prices were so high with the airfare that it was cheaper for me to add on a stopover on Copa. So I was like, where can I go
Uh-huh.
really quick to make this cheaper? And I went to Medellin, and it was beautiful, but I remember being at the bottom of the rock that's and
Yes.
I'm not going to say it, but it's in one of the Getafe, I think it is, and
Uh-huh.
thinking, can
Okay.
I
Yeah.
climb this 720 stairs? And I thought about my life and how I had no qualms. It was like, girl, yeah, we're going to do this, but you have to be in shape. And I think about how people think about retirement, right? Like, I'm going to live my best life when I retire.
Uh-huh.
Why? Will you be in your best shape? Are you doing the things to be in your best shape? Will you be in your best lung capacity? Like all of those
Mhm.
things make sense. But I was looking at the rock saying, I made it. This is the life that I wanted to live where I could do the things, I could climb the things, I could participate in the things that I want to. And that was significant. So even when it goes back to like coming back into caretaking with my mom, finishing up other studies, being a mom to my son, it was, are you doing the things to make sure that you can live your wholest life? And I think that's when we start making better decisions with our time.
Can we talk a little bit about your son staying with his father and staying
Mhm.
with you on in the summers? Because a lot of women in this community know that they have a child. So there are women who have a child and they're like, this child or these children are going to really enjoy moving abroad with me or bopping
Mhm.
around the world with me.
Mhm.
But you said something very important. You said that he likes, I don't remember what you said. I didn't write this down, but you said that
He is
you wouldn't gonna like it.
conservative. Yeah. He if he is able to connect with community, he's okay, but he loves to travel. He loves to get on an airplane. He's been traveling with me since he was 10 months old and I was breastfeeding him. Like he knows
Ah,
how to travel. But he is also
okay.
someone who his spirit is very much aligned to family. So with me moving and shaking as much as I do, it's going to take a little bit more time for him to get comfortable in places and spaces. But in Mexico, these last 3 months, last 3 weeks, while he was there with me, he literally was walking to and from basketball camp by himself. He had met
Good.
friends. They would meet. They would go to the pool. They would go get ice cream. And even he's 12, by the way. But Mexico, we had walked the streets together. This is the second summer that he's been there with me. So he was familiar with where I stayed at. He was familiar with the attendants who worked at the front desk. They knew him. We walked the streets often, so it wasn't unfamiliar to know that this little brown boy, right, is walking up and down the streets and he is well taken care of. Like people are checking for him. And again, I would check on his location. He would be fine. And that was autonomy that we talked about what it meant to like live in the DMV versus living in Mexico, having situational awareness, but also being able to allow him to have friends. But
Yeah,
yeah, he loves being with his dad. He loves church. He loves everything about being here. But he also knows mommy time is going to be amazing as well.
good. Where in Mexico have y'all spent the last 2 summers?
Playa del Carmen.
Okay, Playa. Yeah.
Mhm.
So then there is a lot of community. So you said that he was in basketball camp. Was that a Mexican camp? Like,
It
was it
was a
Mexican?
Mexican camp. And they had other individuals from Germany. I want to say it was mostly Mexican, and then it was a lot of other Europeans that were in there, but he enjoyed it.
Good.
Hmm.
Good. Yeah, so that's a place where a thing about moving to Mexico with your children is that they are going to be able to live like we did well, I did in the 80s and you did in the 90s,
Yes.
right? Where you could just leave the house, you can leave the house with a mission, with no mission, right?
A
And come
hundred
back later in the
pesos,
day
come
and be
back fed,
good.
basketball in hand or soccer ball. And yeah, you could run up on it's a park almost every couple of blocks. And you could run up on kids and they were so
Uh-huh.
welcoming. I'd been out there before he found the camp and they literally welcomed him. Like I didn't even know he was signing up for camp. He didn't know he was signing up for camp. We just thought we was at the hoops playing hoops. And this guy was like, he's really good. I have a camp. And we started in 30 minutes, and I was like, "Oh, I guess we're gonna be here all
Oh,
night." Yeah, but it is like the 80s and the
oh, wow. So
90s. Mhm.
that's really, I love when things fall together easily. So you didn't even have to do a lot of research. How do I find a
No.
camp? How do I, whatever, just
And
show
when I
up and the
did the
camp comes to you.
research, when we do the research, we often don't find because in places and spaces, they don't operate like the US, right? It is very much a flyer or word of mouth, but you almost have to be in the place to get the word of mouth. So yeah, you have to be
Good.
outside in order to get the good stuff.
There are lots of Black families from the United States in Playa del Carmen. Have you connected with them? Are you in community with
Tons.
them?
Oh my gosh, there's so many groups. A lot of community, lots of friends. All of my people are there, and I've done a lot of different workshops. So I've hosted cuddle parties in Playa del Carmen. We recently had an event on 8/8. So my people are definitely there, and I miss them so much. And they were like, "You're leaving," and it was very heartfelt and teary. But I'll be back soon, and they know.
Good, good. All right, so I appreciate you. So you're out between the two of us. We had internet issues, so I hope that I get to talk with you sometime again. But Johnika is
Yeah.
in the Exodus Summit community, exodussummit.com/community. Okay, yeah, I think this is the end. We're gonna move. Yeah. Okay, now you're back. Now you're moving, and I think we're both moving at the same time now. Yeah, but Johnika is in the Exodus Summit community where Black women are sharing what they're doing. So if you want to holler at her, do you have any plans for September 5th, Johnika? Are you coming to a meetup?
Ooh, I need to find a DMV meetup. My international people in Playa already
Okay,
have their lunch schedule. But yeah, if anybody
yeah.
knows of anything, please hit me up so I can get reconnected with the DMV locals.
Good. If there's no DMV, there's Baltimore, but I don't think there's a DC meetup on the books yet. But I talked to a couple women who are working on planning one. So
All right.
hopefully you'll be able to some more women will be able to have more conversation with you. But I really appreciate you sharing this, how moving abroad or how getting residency in Mexico and spending time in both places has been a matter of using your community or tapping into other people to do the things that Black women are generally expected to do all by ourselves. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
you sharing this with us.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. You take care. Nice talking to you. All right. So next, Michelle. I don't know if I told y'all that this is a round robin. We got women on women on women talking to you today. Hi,
Hi,
Michelle.
Michelle. Hey there, can you hear me all right?
Yes, but
Yes, but
can you
can
turn
you
me
turn
off?
me
You
off?
have me
You have me
on.
on,
You have
you have
YouTube on
YouTube on
somewhere.
somewhere. Do I have YouTube on? One sec.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see it. Let me go to my other screen. I've got a lot
Are
open.
you?
Are you? Hold
Yeah.
on.
There's.
Yeah.
I'm
There's.
open
It's. I'm
somewhere
open
because I can
somewhere
hear
because I
me.
can hear
Oh,
me. Oh,
Stacy One is
Stacy
very
One is
happy.
very happy.
She knows
She
you.
knows you. Oh, cool. Hey, Stace. I've got. You know what? Let me close this
Let's see
other
if you
window.
found
Let's see if
it.
you found it. Hold on, hon.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Close
Yeah.
out
Close out
everything that's
everything that's
producing
producing
noise.
noise. Okay. You know what? Can I just log right back in just 1 second?
Okay.
Because I've
Yeah.
got too
Okay.
many
You know what?
windows.
One
You know
thing I
what?
can
One thing
do
I can
is
do
talk.
is
I will fill
I'll
the
fill the
time.
time. All right.
Yeah. Okay. She'll be back. Okay. So today I'm on a mission. I know that there are some of you who think that it's just bad timing. I really want to do it, but it's just bad timing. So I brought in some reinforcements. There are Black women who are going to talk to you today about their timing, right? And about how they made decisions, choices that you may not know are even options for you yet, right? So we talked to Johnika. Her 12-year-old son lives full-time with his father, stays with her in the summertime. When a man does it, we're like, oh, sure, of course he does that. When a woman does it, sometimes you balk. This is an option. This is a choice that is open to you. Also, her mother is undergoing treatment in the United States. She goes to the United States to be with her mother, spend time with her mother, check on her mother, check on her family, but doesn't feel like she needs to be there. And also, she brought her mother to Mexico with her. I'm sorry that we didn't have good internet for that conversation, and we'll do it again. I think we'll do it again. But Jonika's in the Exodus Summit community, so you can just holler at her there. Become her friend. All right. The Exodus Summit community is exodussummit.com/community. Let me give you that link. How's everyone? And did you say good morning or good day? Did you say hi? ExodusSummit.com/community is how you get in community with the women of Exodus Summit. It's how you get in community with Black women who are interested in moving abroad. It's also how you found about it's also how you find out about a meetup. Meetups are happening worldwide, September 5th, which is Exodus Summit's International Meetup Day. All right, let's see how this goes. Okay, Michelle, let's see how we're doing.
All right, let's try it.
Sound
Yay.
great.
You know what I did? I went into
What'd you do?
StreamYard and I did noise cancellation or echo cancellation.
Oh,
Because try as I might, I didn't have
Thank you.
I didn't have a YouTube open. But yay, thank you, Jesus.
okay. It works out. Nice to
Yeah.
see you. Please introduce yourself to everybody, Michelle.
It's so good to connect with you. Yeah, I'm Michelle Soleil DeVette Miller. I am an immigrant with an E, and I'm originally from the San Francisco Bay Area. I made the big move to actually move to France, a lifelong dream. So that was a big culmination for me. Yeah, and I did that all on my 60th birthday. I am living in the southwest region of France, about 90 minutes from Bordeaux. I love it. And I'm happy to be here to talk with you, Stephanie, and just to get to know the community more and share my story.
So glad to talk to you. Southwest France, is this Bordeaux?
Yeah, so I'm about 90 minutes
Bordeaux is
from
west,
Bordeaux.
but I don't think southwest.
I am, yeah, Bordeaux is
Oh,
southwest. It's the southwest region of France. It is officially the Nouvelle-Aquitaine, which is the largest department in France. And yeah, so I am by trade, I've worked in change management and I own my LLC, Amethyst Integrative Solutions. And I do learning and development. But on top of that, more recently, I'm a little nervous, sorry. I am a dissertation student at USC. So I'm with their global program.
So that means you're working towards a doctorate?
Yeah, I'm actually doing my doctorate and this is my study. So I'm focused on motivational migrations of Black American women and why they would leave what is arguably the most advanced nation to live abroad. So I'm a year out and this is really good research. I've discovered so much.
Girl, this is my jam. Okay.
Yes,
so
your jam.
am I right
Absolutely.
about there being am I right about there is a great Black migration that's happening and it started
100%.
around 2020, right?
Yeah,
Or is
and
it
I
just
would
that
even say, I would say even before that, because when the way I'm coupling this is being able to measure this against the Southern migration, you know, the migration, the great migration from the South to the North
Right.
and the West that we actually made, our grandparents made, our parents made, right? That was the first major exodus within the country, but that still occurred under duress, right? That still occurred in the dead of night.
Right.
That still occurred under Jim Crow. In this case, I'm arguing that this is the first major migration that Black American women are actually making under their own agency. So we are empowered. We're moving to countries without even knowing languages. We are being able to, organize and bring people along like you and Rashida do with the Exodus Summit. All of this is actually happening under our own steam. And yeah, we have options and we're exercising them. Oh, there's a bit of a delay for me.
This is amazing. Okay, we're going to talk again This is an amuse-bouche. Is that what they call it? This is.
Yes, girl. You have, see,
We're
you're
going to
already
talk
speaking
again
your
too.
French.
Some women in the chat cannot wait for your dissertation to be out into the world.
Yeah, thank you. It's coming. It's coming. And my book.
Yes, yes.
There's a lot of good,
Great
a
boom,
lot of good
boom.
information. Yeah.
Great. Now, 60 years old, you moving to France for your 60th means to a lot of people that you're moving at a time when they wouldn't do it. Either they would wait until they were fully retired, right? Or they think, it's not what we see as the sweet spot, right? Normally we think either you move abroad when you're 20s, when you're carefree, or you wait until you're fully retired and on Social Security. You did it in this sandwich age. Did you ever think that this timing was problematic for you? Were there problems
Not
with
at all.
moving at 60 that wouldn't have happened if you waited until you were fully retired?
No, listen, I had a story because there was some motivation that was actually putting a fire under me. First of all, I always wanted to live abroad. I knew that from childhood. I was a little girl reading Maya Angelou, reading about James Baldwin, and Josephine Baker. These were all my heroes. So I knew I wanted to live at an early age. I knew I wanted to be a global citizen. Now, the circumstances weren't set up for me to leave fully as early as I would have liked. I would have liked to have done it in my 20s. In fact, I went to Paris solo in my 20s just to see if it lived up to the hype. And that's where I found out there are Black people here. There were a ton of us. And we didn't see that in the Gigi movies. We didn't see that in Singing in the Rain. And so that's when I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I was a single mom and I raised my daughter, Chloe, and I couldn't make the move then, and I was working, I was in the grind, I was in corporate culture for years, and I couldn't make the move then, but I set myself up for jobs where I could actually work remotely or in global spaces. Like I worked on helping to launch a plant in Singapore. And I worked in the UK, doing some training opportunities and building training programs. And so I did that, and that still wasn't enough for me. What happened was, and I kind of put it aside and just thought, hey, I'm in the grind and that's all there is. I'm a homeowner now. I have to just fight to stay alive. And I'm in the Bay Area. I was in the Bay Area at the time. So mortgage, all kind of stuff. And it just seemed like a faraway dream. Well, what really cemented it for me was my mom. My mom was living with me at the time. She developed pancreatic cancer. She could not get all of the health care that she needed she couldn't get all the services, even though she was a career nurse. We had to come out of pocket for some of the things because in healthcare in the US, if you have to fall in between two camps to get fully funded. And that is you have to be destitute, right? Or have a lot of money. And my mom was in between that. And so I saw how we had to really come together as a family to take care of her healthcare. And that's when I knew I cannot age in this country. So right after she passed, I put the home up for sale. I joined some organizations. There's the Bordeaux Women's Club that helped. This was around the time of the pandemic. She'd already passed. And I was just going online and connecting with other Black women and men who basically made the leap. So many times at the time, everyone was in Mexico or they were in Portugal.
Panama. Okay.
Both places, right? So I went to both places to see, okay, is this for me? But I knew then that I had to act with some urgency. And that's what I did. And I love it. It's been amazing.
I'm so glad. So we have some women in our community who are in France and they would love to connect with you. You probably should expect people to holler at you inside of the Heartbeat, inside of the Exodus Summit community. So saying now I know I cannot age in the United States is a a very smart approach.
It
A
was
lot of people
pivotal
would
to
just be
me.
like, it sucks to age here. Yeah.
No, it was pivotal. And listen, since I've been here and I've made community, I know so many American women that are actually here and men. Every week there's an influx of people that basically come. I was able to build community before I left, right? By connecting with various groups that are built around, sort of framed around expatriation from Americans, from the standpoint of women. There are groups where there are people of different ages. One of the things I did before I actually moved was I worked remotely for a month in Bordeaux, and I lived in neighborhoods to make sure that, I shopped where people shopped. I was on public transportation. I lived in 5 different neighborhoods to basically see what's the difference between me, Michelle, coming as a tourist and me actually
Uh-huh.
coming to live. And does it, measure up? Does it hold up with my expectations? And I didn't want to go home. So I knew
Right.
that was a testing for me, right? So I came back and I started looking for homes. And as far
Good.
as the lifestyle and health wise, the food that I eat, I'm going to the farmer's market every week. So the food is unreal. It's just like that story, when people go to Mexico for the first time and you're eating something, you're like, what is this? Oh, this is
Why
what
does it
corn
taste like
tastes like. Yeah, right? Because we didn't really get real corn.
Pineapple be hitting you all up in here? I'm like, wait,
Girl,
why does
right?
pineapple down here do that to me?
Yes. And my little food, it's so funny, Stephanie. Look, I went to the grocery store like an American the first time. I had my big old cart, right, full of produce and all that. Girl, that food went bad so quickly. You know why? No
Not
artificial
pesticide.
stuff.
Not sprayed in
Yeah,
pesticides. Yep. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The bread over here, 4 ingredients, no more than 4 ingredients.
hmm
So, it
hmm
helps. Nowhere is a panacea, nowhere is perfect. I don't want to point that illusion, but I can say that this works for me. And as far as healthcare, I do know I have a girlfriend who, after she made the move, she's American, she actually contracted cancer. She didn't even know she was sick. But when she was here, she got door-to-door care to actually someone to pick her up and take her for her chemo. You know, she had a prescription where they made her a wig, things like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's care in healthcare when you leave the United States of America.
yeah.
It doesn't even sound real. The levels of care that you can receive in another country,
In another
um,
country.
even if you don't speak the language, in a place where you weren't born and where you don't have ties, you can
Mhm.
have real solid care when you go
And
there.
even
And
like
I would say all the time, healthcare is a reason to leave the United States. It's not a reason to stay. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't leave the United States because I can't leave my job because then I won't have healthcare. And I'm like, healthcare is a reason to leave the US. The price and the care are reasons to leave the United States, not reasons to stay behind.
yeah, and just really quickly, I think that you're absolutely right. The other thing is, um, aside from the peace of mind that you have preventive care because you're eating better
Mhm.
food. You're actually exercising more because you're walking more. And, when people think of France, for instance, they'll think about the major city. They'll think, oh, it's so expensive. They're thinking about Paris. But France is mostly rural,
Yeah,
outside those areas. So it's so affordable.
yeah,
And that's mainly what I want to express. And just to say,
yeah.
hey, we as Black women, make an informed decision before you say no right away or build up, obstacles. Um, I'd say just travel and just see. It's worked out for me, and I wish I'd done it years ago, but now is the way. Now works for me too.
It
So
works.
it's
Yes, yes.
yeah.
So I want to get through a couple of quick questions. Hi. Oh, she dipped. Okay. Hi, Alicia. We see you, but with just a couple more quick questions. Can you tell us how's your French? You said that you dreamed. I just said on a video with Rashida yesterday on the Exodus Summit channel, a lot of the women who moved to France because they've always wanted to live there. Did you
Yeah.
speak French when you got to France?
This is how serious I was about, leaving as a child. As soon as I could actually take classes, language classes. I live in California, so I should have took Spanish, right? But now I was like, no, I'm going to France. So I started, speaking or learning French. Now my French is, I have conversations. So, alors, qu'est-ce que tu me dis? Je suis très amusement à parler avec toi aujourd'hui. C'est la lumière d'héros à chez moi.
Merci.
De rien. Well, here's the thing, though, and I think this is you probably find this, I love it. You probably find this too in Medellin, right? When you work with a government that basically is friendly to immigrants, they will set up free language lessons for you. And I know in France, each major city has opportunities where immigrants can learn French from volunteers. And so that's the case here in France as well. So they offer free programs where you can have immersion weekly, several days a week, just using your time. Yeah, so you can go in, and I know several Americans that are actually doing that, taking advantage of these resources.
That's amazing. So I don't know what Colombia offers. Honestly, I'm not the most connected person here. I don't know a lot of things about Colombia. I just like being here. But I do know that plenty of people who come through have a tutor. I have Anita staying with me right now. She's in the community, and she has a Spanish tutor, a Colombian tutor in Medellin, Harlem Minded, who came and stayed with me a while ago. They have they have a tutor that they pay. And it's, for Americans, it's very inexpensive. Travel Fund Over 50 has some questions about the cost of living in France, about the visa process. I want to let you know, friends, if you're interested, if you have these kind of questions about some place that you're interested in moving to, you should have a ticket to Exodus Summit 2026, because in Exodus Summit 2026, Black women who live in these places are telling you about their lifestyle, their healthcare, their cost of living, and then experts like local immigration attorneys and or residency facilitators are coming to teach you how to be there, how to move there and stay there. Exodus Summit 2026 is all online, October 9th through 12th. Early bird pricing is still in effect right now. So if you get your ticket to Exodus Summit 2026 today, you're going to pay a lot less than other people. Friends and family discount. You're welcome. And you attended Exodus Summit 2020, I think. Is that right, Michelle?
I think I attended so many online Exodus or summits. Basically, I attended. I remember definitely getting a lot of information from you, basically. And I think you were just launching house sitting school, or you were just getting into it. But I just remember thinking, wow, that sister is dynamic and she's on the move. And so there was you, and then there was, you guys remember Driven Spice, right? Cinnamon McCann. She was doing this whole thing where, yeah, I did. I remember I did a 3-day or 2-day summit with her online. We were moving with it. So I feel like I have done the earliest iterations of Exodus Summit. And I know it was really resourceful. It's my dream to come back one day as a panelist. Maybe after I get my doctorate.
I think you were in 2020.
Yeah.
Girl, keep your email, check your emails, okay? Check your emails. Yeah, so
I definitely want to give back.
When I post, sorry.
Yeah, I want to give back.
I'll just say, when I posted in the community, I think it said your email address came up, and I think it said you attended Exodus Summit 2020. So that was before your move. So yeah, you were getting information even back then.
Yeah. I would say, but to answer just a little bit of the question, I will say that the visa process is very straightforward as far as being able to, and achievable, a lot more achievable.
Yes, France is more accessible than you would think. We think that we can kind of understand why like Panama and Ecuador have relatively accessible visas for people to move there,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially from the United States or from quote unquote more wealthier countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even France, Portugal, they have France is probably today more accessible than Portugal, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
They have ways for you to move into the country, access their healthcare, get you on Social Security. One thing they're going to do when you move to France is they're going to make you access their
Yeah.
healthcare system. It's universal healthcare. They're going to make you get on Social Security.
Yes, and
So
you can
it is
even
more
supplement
accessible.
it if you want. You can supplement it, but here's the thing: when you first move to France, for instance, you have to have some sort of health insurance, and so you can buy private health insurance. It's still a lot less expensive. It's a fractional amount in comparison to what you'd have to pay in the U.S., and that's only needed for a year. And
Sure is.
after you become a visa some sort of short-term resident, then you get your carte de séjour 3 months later. So that basically gives you entree into healthcare too that much quicker. I mean, they want their immigrants to actually be well taken care of, so that they're not a drag, on the government.
That's right. That's right. So you support people in the beginning so you don't have to overly so you don't have to fix them in the end, right? Do right by people up front so you don't
Up
have to
front.
fix problems in the end. Themis is
Yeah.
in Paris right now, solo. Hey Themis, thank you very much for the super chat. Maybe for the
Thank you, Miss.
duration of ticket time, I'll put super chat money into our donations fund for the Exodus Summit tickets for Black women who wouldn't otherwise be able to attend. So thank you very much for that super chat, Themis. And thank you very much for that super chat, Darlene. Thank you, friends. Nice to see you all. Okay, so where should we be following you?
Yeah, so
Michelle, where
you
should
can
be?
follow me. Follow me at Son of My Neck, at Son of My Neck. That's my IG. You can also follow me as far as, can I do a little plug for my LLC?
Please, yeah.
Yeah. So the way I earn is I have my LLC that is based on transforming people performance through change management strategies and through learning outcomes. And you can reach me there at amethystgo.com. And amethyst, like the jewel, right? Other than that, yeah, I have a Substack as well, but I'll put that in my IG. But I look forward, yeah, if anybody has any questions, and more importantly, Stephanie, I'd love to be able to interview you for my dissertation. You would be, a great sample set. And I'd say any other women that have already made the move, no matter where you are in the globe, and you've been there for at least a year, I would love to talk with you. So let's connect.
Please holler at me. Yes, indeed. Okay, so I've dropped Michelle's Instagram here in the chat. I'll put it in the description as well as the Amethyst Go site link. I'll put those in the description. And then from there, you'll be able to find her Substack.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. I already know. Okay.
All right. Have a blessed day, everybody.
Okay.
Lots of love.
You too. Bye. Thank you. Okay. Before Alicia comes up here, oh no, I think we answered I wanted to do something, but I think it was what I already did, which was acknowledge the super chat. So thank you, friends, for those super chats. We're going to keep it going. You ready, Alicia? Okay, let's go.
Hi.
Hello. Good
Hi.
morning.
How are you? Good morning to you too.
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm so well. I'm so excited to
Why
chat with
don't you
you.
introduce yourself to everybody?
So my name's Alicia Fairclough, and I am, a resident of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And I have a business, Tree Local Herbs, which I'll talk more about later. But it's essentially the business that it's my passion project. I teach people about herbal medicine and teach people about botanicals. And I do all of this outside of my space or in my space. And I've been doing that now for about 3 years. And it was inspired by Exodus Summit in 2022, actually, when I decided to start a business and run abroad. But I'm so excited to chat with you because you've been such a huge inspiration for me, you and Rashida. And yeah, here I am. Also, you're frozen.
Wonderful.
Okay,
That's
here
so
we are.
good to hear. I love to hear that. Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. The internet, I'm sorry. We're going to do our best.
Yes, we will.
So everybody's been very patient. Everybody's been patient, and everybody in the chat, everybody watching on YouTube has been very patient. I appreciate that from y'all. Thank you. And the guests also, y'all have been very patient. Okay, so are you in Brazil right now?
No, I'm actually with my family here in Florida. I got here about 3 days ago or 2 days ago. And the last time I was here was probably about almost a year ago now. I try to keep my time outside of the US pretty prominent. I don't know. It's really hard to leave Brazil. Yeah, it's actually also funny too, because this is like an interesting phase in my life where I noticed that when I leave Brazil, I get homesick, but I never felt homesick when I left the US. So that was an interesting discovery for me.
I feel that too. I feel that same way. I think that's a great sign. It means that we found a place that makes us feel better, right? We found a place that makes us feel good. And when we're not there, we miss it. I feel that same way. When I leave Delaware, I miss Wawa and sometimes Wendy's, although I'm less interested in Wendy's lately, but I miss Wawa, but I don't really feel like super homesick. Technology means you can, keep in touch with people. But I do miss being here. I miss Bogota when I leave here. I miss my house.
Yeah, that's so relatable.
Where in Brazil do you live?
So I live in Sao Paulo. Often people think that Sao Paulo is the capital, which is not. It feels like it should be, maybe, but it isn't. The capital is Brasilia, which I lived there for a couple of months. I met someone there, and then I left. But I've been in Sao Paulo now for a year and 8 months now, and then I just renewed my visa again for my third time.
Good. Okay. Is this a 1-year visa at a time?
Yeah, unfortunately. So I'm on the digital nomad visa. And so that's like, it's kind of like a semi-permanent. So you have to renew it once a year. And so I usually try to get ahead of the schedule because bureaucracy in Brazil is not the best. They're a little old school. They're old school with a few things and then pretty impressive and innovative in other ways.
Yeah. Okay, good. How did you choose Brazil?
So it was really funny, actually. I don't even know where to start. So I initially had planned to go to Spain. Spain was maybe not always the plan, but I knew that I wanted to be in a Spanish-speaking country. Originally, I wanted to go to Mexico even before Spain, but then it felt like Mexico just became a little, maybe more tourist-centric. It just felt like more foreigners were moving there than I would have liked. And so I decided to start my visa process with Spain. I started that in 2023. And then I had to wait a little bit for the process to kick off. So I decided to study Spanish a little bit in Latin America, particularly South America. Started in Colombia, learned Spanish for a month there in Medellin. And then I left Colombia and I went to Argentina and did not like Argentina. Argentina, I actually didn't even have any issues with racism. Yeah, it wasn't even racism. It was just very depressing. It felt like a very watered down, it sounds terrible. It felt like a kind of a fake version or a takedown version of Europe. And also it was winter, it was depressing. I'm a vegetarian, it's a carnivorous society, as I always tell people. And I couldn't find any fresh fruits and vegetables. I was actually starving, literally starving. So I ended that trip short and I went to Sao Paulo. And then that week was supposed to be just 5 days. And I ended up staying 3 weeks. And I was crying at the airport and I was so happy there. So I was like, oh, let me just switch all my visa work to Brazil, which was way more straightforward than Spain. And now I'm here entering.
Oh,
Yeah. You're living in Brazil now. So yeah. And I just love it there. It was the best decision I feel like I've made in my life.
you don't have to answer this, but the ladies want to know what you meant when you had said that you met someone in Brasilia. They want to know what that means.
So yeah, I met a gentleman. We still talk, actually. He's a lovely person, a lovely human. We were talking while he was doing his postdoc at NYU. So I was actually transitioning back to Brazil, but I was still in New Jersey, actually, where I used to live. And so him and I started talking, and then one thing led to the next. And he's like, come to my city, give it a shot. And then I went to the city. Then you get to know a person when you're actually like with them day to day. And we have a lot of really great chemistry. It just wasn't meant to be long term. So I decided to end it and leave for Sao Paulo, which was always the original plan. But we're still on very good terms.
But this was not in Brazil. This was in
Yeah,
the US.
so this was both when we were in the New York area. It's a little bit delayed, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what was the timing issue for you that would make it seem like for other people this was bad timing?
So I had a really established life, I made what I thought on paper were all the right decisions, right? So, you get all the degrees and then you get the nice job. I had a really, really good job in tech. It was at the height of my career, purchased a house, I was married, and I just reached a point in 2022 as I mentioned earlier, where I was so burnt out. I didn't even really understand the life that I was leading. I was trying to understand why I was so unhappy with everything that was going technically pretty well in terms of making those decisions that I think are kind of placed upon us by society, and the sense of just how things work in the US. And it didn't really mean much to me. All that money I was making was going towards taxes and wars. And I felt like even the amount that I was bringing in was still quite subpar, even for like the cost of living in New Jersey and owning a home. It felt like it was all going to property taxes. It was all going towards living expenses. And I was working so hard around the clock, and I had to ask for permission to leave for a little bit for a break. And it just didn't feel like my life. I felt like I was kind of a shell of myself. And so I decided that I wanted to do this, but it was a really hard decision because everything was so concrete. Everything felt so established at that stage of my life. And it was a very, very hard thing for me to grapple with, because it was a sense of identity that I thought I had nailed. I thought I had did everything right. And I think that's why it felt like I was blowing up my life, which essentially I did, to start over again. And that's the scariest thing I feel like I've ever done, to say no to the things that I had said yes to in that moment. And I don't know, it felt like a lot of pressure because I was seen as like the most successful, and by, in my social circles, et cetera. And then I had to say no to all of that. So it felt wrong, but I had to do it because my heart was screaming for me to exit that life.
Okay, so you've exited that life. You live in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
How is it? Was
It's
it worth that?
wonderful.
Was it worth the
Yes,
blow up?
it was. I would say that I try to start every morning with gratitude, because it feels a bit like a dream. I've been talking with friends about this lately, and I've been also supporting other friends that have been wanting to leave the US. Hi, Amanda. Amanda told me about this opportunity to chat with you. So here we are today, and she'll be leaving for Trinidad soon. But I'm really grateful. Like, I don't have to work as hard. I'm still a designer on the side. I have my herbal studio, but I also design still. I was an art director for 15 years. And so I have my clients, and then I have my studies, and then I have my art, and I have my studio practice. And I live in a beautiful home. I have like a whole veranda. I live in one of the most beautiful neighborhoods in Sao Paulo. I have really wonderful friends. I'm learning Portuguese. My life is in Portuguese, which is a whole other topic. It feels like a parallel universe. And I don't know, I just feel so embraced by this culture. It's absolutely magical. I can't even put words to it. And I'm trying not to get emotional. It's really amazing.
You can get emotional. You can get emotional here. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that it's one thing to plan things out. It's one thing to say, I need a change and I'm going to do this drastic thing and I'm going to make a change, right?
Yeah.
It's another thing to get on the other side of it and be like, oh, it was worth it, right? Oh, and even here are some ways that it's even better than I would have expected.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of trust that's involved in the process, I would say, because, I've been talking a lot, and I was taught just the art of surrender before I left, and just really understanding what that means, especially someone who is like, I tend to white knuckle things. I am still working on control and judgment. There's a lot of very interesting things you learn about yourself in the process, especially around resilience. And I'm so impressed with what I've been able to do, but I feel like we don't give ourselves enough credit and what is possible, and how we can actually survive in a new country, a new world, a new culture, etc. And so it's totally possible. If I can do it, literally anyone can. And I know that there are certain barriers to entry, that I'm not really being cognizant of, even in saying that. But I really do feel like anyone can do this if they put their mind to it.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So a couple of people want to know about your Portuguese. So you talked about spending a lot of time learning Spanish because you thought you were going to go to Spain or Mexico. Do
Yeah.
you follow Portuguese?
Sim, falo português. It's been, so the time that I've been here is when I started the language. I will say that Portuguese and Spanish are quite similar. I would also say that Spanish really helped me with Portuguese to the point where my Portuguese is stronger than my Spanish. I can go back and forth between the languages. Sometimes my brain will be in a space, like Florida has a large Spanish-speaking population. So as soon as I landed here, I would hear Spanish, understand everything, but then realize that it's not Portuguese. And I'm like, wait, let me just do like a little tweak here so that I can reconnect. But Portuguese is its own beast. And I really do like the challenge, honestly. But yeah, I speak it. I'm at B2 now, so I'm right under fluent.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. That's great. That's great. Okay, so I think that so I told let's see. I think that you also attended an Exodus Summit, one of the first Exodus Summits. Do you remember that? I think I
So
saw,
that was
on the thing, you can see the email address.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what year, because I know that you guys have been doing this for a while, but 2022, was that like the second or one of the first few?
2022 was our third summit. We started in 2020.
Yes, exactly. I was so happy.
Yeah, so so you've been thinking about things for a while, putting things in place.
Sorry, I missed you.
Putting things in place. One thing I want to ask that is not related to this is you said that there were ways that Brazil was more advanced than the United States. Brag a little bit on Brazil. Tell us what is so great about your life in Brazil.
So one thing, if we're talking like innovation really quickly, and also just healthcare. So I was just thinking about this a couple days ago. So we have Pix, which is a payment system. Everyone who has a Brazilian bank account has access to the system, whether you're a native or whether you're a foreigner. And so you just easily send money to people very quickly. You know, they have a Pix ID or a key that you would use to identify the other person, the recipient or the sender. And people just are able to use Pix for everything, even folks who are houseless. Like there's a process that they go through to, you know, attain a bank account, which is not difficult in Brazil. And if you want to give to people without, it's very easy. You just get their Pix key, and it's very straightforward, all on your phone. Even, I mean, coming from user interface design and UX, I think it's really fascinating just to see the end-to-end experience and how straightforward it is, how simple it is. Then when it comes to doctor's appointments, I will spend roughly like an hour and a half with just one physician talking about anything, about my health, about questions I have, about anything under the sun. They spend a lot of time with you. And even the process of sharing information across physicians, all of that is within one system. Anyone can write your prescription. All of it's virtual. They just give you a QR code as part of a platform called MeMed. I think I'm pronouncing that correct. And you go into the drugstore right down the street after your appointment. They scan the code. You get your, you know, $2 med. It doesn't even cost that much. And it's so fast. If I had an emergency, you know, last year for a procedure that I had to do in the hospital, I paid for that out of pocket. And I do have private health insurance, but you know, it was very affordable. If I didn't have insurance, it wouldn't break the bank. It wouldn't be impossible for me to pay that back. And yeah, I mean,
like
my grocery stores. Sorry?
I'm sorry. So with the emergency, so you talked about the price of the care for the emergency,
Yes,
but do you feel like you
exactly.
got good medical attention?
Yes, I went to one of the best hospitals in Sao Paulo. I didn't even know where to go because it was, you know, there are things that happen, you know, when you're abroad and you want to be, you know, thoughtful about what you do in preparation for any kind of emergency. And so this was just a hospital I happened to find in that moment, and it turned out to be in like the most affluent neighborhood. Oh my God, even the places where I go for my blood work, it looks like the Breakers Hotel or something. It feels, they serve breakfast, they have spa water. It's so beautiful. Everyone's super nice. And if you know Portuguese, like you get around, it's so easily, people are so willing to help, you know, very welcoming. I do ceramics classes for nothing. I do capoeira for not a lot of money. And you just meet people, you know, you build community so easily because the access is so readily available, especially when you have USD behind you for now, right? I tend to take international money over reais, so for my work.
I'm so glad your life sounds really good. I'm really glad.
Very happy, yes.
I'm really glad that making this change did that for you. You said earlier, you said something about feeling like you were a shell of yourself in your former life.
Yeah.
And I think that's common. And I think instead of us saying, oh, well, that's how it's going to be, or at least that's how it's going to be until I'm retired, I think that you're a wonderful example of what happens when you decide that you're going to take agency, that you're going to take control, or, you know, take control is not a good word, but you're going to be in charge of your life, and you're going to make some changes for you. Maybe that other people would not agree with or would not understand. Why would you leave behind XYZ? But you're a great example of why we do these things and what happens on the other side.
Yes, yeah. I would also say, again, giving so much credit to you and Rashida, there were things that you guys have said and probably still say, because I feel like it was so helpful for me to hear that, you know, you can always return to that life if it doesn't work for you, you know, like you're still, unless you completely absolve all connections to the US. But I really appreciated that because it felt really grounding, and it almost was like a false sense of security because like I don't really ever want to be here again. I dread coming to the US. I love my family to death, and like they're literally the only reason why I come here. If they weren't here, I would have no reason to be back here. But I agree. It's like, understanding that, you have options, you always have options. It's always readily available to each and every one of us. And it's almost like if I didn't make that decision, and also growing up around older people in my life, I always knew that I didn't want to look back at this chapter and have any regrets for not even trying. So
Right.
that was always
Right.
really important to me.
Yes, and yes, you can come back. I always say if your fallback plan is to go back to the United States and go back to your old life, then friend, you're already living the worst case scenario, right?
Yes,
If that's your
yes.
fallback plan, which it is, it's everyone's fallback plan. It's my
Mhm.
fallback plan, right? If
Yes.
things fall apart for me, I'm going to go back. I'm going to get my pharmacy technician certification, right? I'm going
Mhm.
to get. That means that life was my worst case scenario. Now,
Yes.
how much better can things get? Let's live the best case scenario, right? Let's
Thank
try that.
you. It's so true. It's so true. People are always like, "How did you do that? That's the craziest thing I've never." And it is kind of crazy, I guess, but this what we're comparing that to is this what we already know, right? We're comparing it to, whatever standards, whatever limitations that are kind of made by our own design, unfortunately. And that a lot of that has been programmed within us, within the US. Not a lot of people hold a passport. I think only 40% of US citizens have a passport. A lot of people don't really leave the country or leave their cities. I moved a lot around the US, so I have like a little bit of my time in the East Coast and then a lot of my time on the West Coast. And I haven't been back to Florida as like a true resident since I was 18. So I think I already had like a pretty clear understanding of what it felt like to live away from my family. But technology provides a lot of connection,
Alicia, thank you
all
so much.
possible.
That's right. I'm sorry. Thank
No,
you so
you're
much.
good.
So can you tell us a little bit about Tree Lickle Herbs?
Yeah, so Tree Local Herbs is my business. I started it around 2022 with the Exodus Summit from that period. And I teach people about plant medicine. So I do one-on-one consultations specific around healing through herbs and healing through plant medicine as another option for people. Because I still think conventional is fine. I'm not anti-conventional, but I want people to understand that we can still heal with the power of medicine from nature. So I hold studio classes. People can book time with me from my website, and people from all over the world come in, and it's been an exciting journey for me. And so workshops, one-on-one consultations, and also retreats on the horizon.
Wonderful. Retreats in Brazil?
Brazil, yes. And then I want to see if I can do things in Peru because I travel a lot and I make connections. So it could be anywhere, honestly. Still working through the details.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay, Sandra. Okay, Sandra. We need her website. If you go to
Yes.
the Instagram, let's see. If we go to your Instagram, we should be able to get to your website, right? To get to more
Yes,
information.
exactly. Instagram,
And then,
everything is in the bio. And then I know we can probably put it in the show notes.
absolutely. I'll put it in the description, but it's going to be later, friends. Okay.
Yes.
Give me some time. We got more conversations to have here. Okay, Sandra. Thank you for asking, though. Okay. So I see some really good questions, but so who's here? Jennifer, Zerline. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm behind in case anyone is surprised. I'm behind schedule. But hold on, y'all. So Kat's question about Sao Paulo being such a huge city, a lot of women who are moving abroad are moving to smaller places for quieter, slower lives. Sao Paulo is grande. I don't know that in Portuguese. How's life in a
Grande.
major city? And then I also saw another comment that said Sao Paulo reminds them of Mexico City. So how is life in a
Ooh.
big city?
I would say that it is massive. This is a really quick response because I often speak to this too. I used to live in New York. I would say Sao Paulo is kind of like a bigger version of New York, really is bigger than New York. Because it's so massive, though, every neighborhood feels like its own little city. So I really don't leave my little pocket. I'm on the Zona Oeste, so that's the west side of the city. And then sometimes I'll go into Centro, which is downtown. But it's manageable and it's easy because everything is right there at your fingertips. I have my spots for my groceries, my bakery, my coffee shops. I have my little corners of the city. It's easy.
Good. Okay, that's a good thing about really big cities is that they are very good at neighborhoods, which is a beef I have with Atlanta, because Atlanta, for the size city, you should be able to have all of your needs met inside of one neighborhood, and you cannot. Nobody asked me that, but that is my complaint with Atlanta. You should be able to have your needs met inside of your neighborhood, inside of your city, if you're in a big city. And that's how you know it's not a true big city, if you can't stay in your neighborhood and live your life. Okay.
True.
Alicia's like, oh, that's not important. Thank you for coming. Also, thank you for giving me the phonetic pronunciation of your name.
Yeah, I wanted to be. I was like, oh no, I didn't tell her in the email, so I wanted to share that with you.
Very helpful. No, I appreciate that a lot. So thank you for that. And I hope that we'll see you around a lot more. Thank you for coming here and sharing with us. I know this was quick, and I know that I have internet problems, but I really appreciate you sharing. You should expect to hear some women in the community, in the Exodus Summit community, at least saying hi and tapping on your Instagram and following you to find out about your retreats and things. So thank you kindly.
Thank you. Have a good one. Ciao.
Tell the family hey. Bye.
I will.
All right, so Jennifer is next. Zerline, if you want to hang out, if you want to dip and come back, you're welcome. I know I'm late, okay? Or if you want to stay in the room, you're welcome to stay in the room. You hear me, Zerline? I think she can hear me. Okay, Jennifer, you ready? Okay.
Ready.
All right, hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Stephanie.
How are you?
I'm excited to be here with you. This is a full circle moment.
I'm excited to talk with you. Introduce yourself, friend.
Everybody, my name is Jennifer Renee Cohen. I am a retired scientist turned DEI professional and then turned international house sitter. And I'm in my harvesting ease era, thanks to you.
Harvesting ease is brilliant. You know, I like to say embracing ease, but you got to harvest it first, girl. You got to get it before you can wrap your arms around it. It needs to exist. I love harvesting ease.
Yes.
Where are you today?
You're meeting me in Mexico. I am in Baja California Sur, the southern tip of Mexico, currently on a 7-month house sit. This is my 3rd time being here. So this is practically my dog. And that's one of the things, part of my house sitting has opened up a portal of joy for me. That's how I was like, oh, you know what? This is a pathway to harvesting ease, right? So, I'm going to be here until December, enjoying someone else's beautiful home, in love with this dog, and happy, healthy, fit.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. So I'm taking the credit. I don't care who you heard about house sitting from. I'm taking the credit. I'm patting myself on the back.
Listen, the credit is yours. Back in 2023, I attended my first Exodus Summit. I was, 43 years old. I was in Costa Rica. You influenced me to be in Costa Rica. And I was in this gorgeous garden participating virtually in Exodus Summit 2023. I learned about house sitting. By 2024, Exodus Summit 2024, I was in a house sit participating in Exodus Summit that year. And every year since, I've been on a house sit, essentially learning and growing in community with other Black women who know that there's another way. And so, yes, take all the credit, sis.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to drop the link to Exodus Summit one more time. We'll talk about it in a second, but I don't want to interrupt this conversation. So you have PhD after your name.
Yeah, I'm a
and
researcher.
you're a house sitter. Okay, done. So tell us about the shift from. Tell us about leaving this work behind.
All right. So first thing about me is that I'm okay with leaving things behind, right? So I went to grad school, became a research scientist. My doctorate is in biochemistry, cellular and molecular biology. I discovered a protein signal for a viral protein. And then I was like, okay, I'm done. I felt like I completed that story of being a scientist. I published my discovery and I moved on. And so that arc has continued throughout my life. So becoming a scientist, seeing like, okay, I feel like I've done this. What else is out there? Looking out onto the horizon is a practice. Then I started to look at like DEI policy. I was tired of being the only Black girl in my graduate training, in science. How can I bring more people in, right? So I went into policy. And since then, 20 plus years later, my career was as a DEI professional. So I'm one of the thousands of Black women who've been pushed out of, burned out of a DEI career. I was fired from my last job as Director of Equity and Inclusion, but I was also in a shuttle in the mountains of Costa Rica heading to Puerto Viejo, and it didn't hurt as much. I was also on a medical leave from said job because I was so sick behind the toxic work environment. And so it gave me space, traveling and house sitting, gave me space to be able to think about what does it look like for this to be the foundation of what I move forward, that I no longer have to have struggle as the foundation of what my purpose is, like DEI, because I had such a challenging time feeling like I belonged and that I was included. I devoted myself to making spaces that were more equitable and inclusive for other people. Yeah. You know, I thought I was supposed to work until my 60s, right? Accumulate way more money than I actually did, and then remain available to my family. I'm an elder daughter. I'm a solo traveler. I don't have any kids. And by default, a lot of the parent care and, you know, being number one auntie fell on me. And travel and retirement felt like it was so distant on the other side. But once I learned that my life is my life, that fear can come along with it, I don't have to have the whole plan together, things changed in all dimensions of my life.
All dimensions of your life. So the ladies in the chat cannot get over how amazing your skin looks and how you're glowing, and everybody's smiling so big. Everyone's smiling so big. So we just talked about with Alicia, we just talked about like giving up control. There's a lot of unknowns. There's even though you were one of the many Black women impacted by the DEI job loss, by Black women being pushed out of work, is what I should say. A lot of women decided at that time to dig deeper. I went to a Black Enterprise conference right after that. So that announcement, the report came out like in July or August. I went to a Black Enterprise conference, I think in November. And the message was, don't let them push you out, work harder, show them that they can't do without you.
Yeah.
Instead, you pivoted to a different direction.
Yeah, because that's a scam.
Yeah.
That's a scam, right? We are no longer participating in lives that we have to recover from. Work harder is hustle, it's grind. No, now I know, I'm speaking to everybody from the other side, right? Now that I know another way is possible, that if I feel hustle or grind culture or Black excellence, God forbid, or any of the things that force us to bend ourselves and remain in spaces, physically or otherwise, where we are struggling, where we feel like, well, I have to do this. No, that's the indicator that harvest some ease, sis. There is another way. Do not believe that propaganda. That serves not us.
Not us. Not us. So you're house sitting in Mexico. A 7-month house sit means that you need to have you need to be able to stay there longer than the 6 months that most people get on a tourist visa.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain how that's possible?
Sure. So this is my 26th house sit total. I have lived in Panama, Guatemala, Mexico, Costa Rica, and I've house sit in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is home. So I followed your advice of like starting local and then building up confidence so that I could do internationally. I bought a one-way ticket. I string together a few back-to-back house sits. I had 6 months worth of house sits string together across different countries. And I just trusted that I was going to be able to book other house sits along the way. One of the things that I've learned on this journey, you know, living in 17 plus cities, taking care of 75 animals, is that having white space on my calendar, being able to dip out of the country and come back, do the border runs is important. So what I did was I arrived here in April. I did a border run in July, which gave me an unexpected opportunity to go home, see my family, be with my family, and then to come back, which restarted my clock. So I returned, and now I can remain here without violating that 6-month rule.
Good. Do you have any interest in getting residency in Mexico?
No, I love this. I want to feel buoyant. I want to feel free, liberated. I want to keep moving. So not at this moment. You know, I'm open in the future, and I trust that I will make the decision and recognize it when that door opens. But right now, I'm just like, no, this is fun. This is, you know, as Stephanie Perry says, bop around. I want to bop around.
Bop, bop. Well, let me tell you, as a permanent resident of Mexico, that they don't care if you actually live there. And it does give you the freedom to be there as long as you want, right? Mexico is there are a handful of countries that I know of, Mexico, Panama, Ecuador. Even when you're a resident, they're like, we don't really care. We don't care if you live here or how long you stay. I think also Costa Rica, they don't really care. So if you're interested in not having to do those runs back and forth, you may want to go ahead and get residency, girl, because requirements continue to change. Okay, you didn't ask me that. You didn't ask me for my information. I'm generally not a person who likes to receive unsolicited advice, but I will give you unsolicited advice.
I appreciate the advice because, you know, just like you planted seeds in me in 2023 when you started talking about house sitting, I get to talk to you today to talk about what grew from the seeds that you planted in me. So I receive it. I'm a sponge. I'm listening to you and other Black women in this Exodus Summit community, and trusting that the right information will come up when I need it. So I heard you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So what's so amazing? So you have made this change. You're house sitting around the world. You look amazing. How is it? What's so good about this new life? What's so good about bopping around?
What's so good about this life? How much time do we have? So what's so good is I am happy. I am rested. My nervous system is calm. I'm closer to nature in ways that are meaningful to me, right? Being in the mountains and being able to watch the sunrise, steps away from the beach and being able to enjoy sunsets. I'm living my best life. This is a life that looks like, I feel like if we were to just press mute and you couldn't hear me talking, that it looks like I love myself, that it looks like I'm enjoying myself, right? You know, I didn't intend to lose weight in this process, but walking other people's dogs helps, right? Separate from losing weight, because that's not the measure. I am more healthy. I can tell. I have a greater, stronger cardiovascular health. I'm able to do more, and I feel buoyant and happy and joyful and relaxed. And that is the gift that I'm giving myself. So this Harvesting Ease era, this is my choice. Now that I know that there's another way, there's no turning back. I can't imagine returning to spaces where I am fighting and struggling so hard. So those are some of the great things, right? Of course, falling in love with animals. I love getting the 5-star reviews. I love being invited to return. I love space between each sit so that I can just travel slowly and be the tourist and, you know, enjoy the space before responsibilities start. I love leaving space after a sit ends so that I can continue to enjoy. There's no feelings of like I missed out or, ooh, I wish I didn't leave as soon as I did, so that I could linger and enjoy. And so that's where I'm at. I love being able to meander and dream and then go do it.
Yes, do it, do it. Dream and then do it. Absolutely. You said your life looks like I love myself. That's amazing because we can say it all we want, but what's in you comes out, right? What's really going on inside of here, it shows up on the outside of you and
Right.
shows up on the outside of your life. And so if you look like stress and struggle and strain, are you really caring for yourself? Are you really prioritizing you and putting you first? If your life looks like the opposite, the exact opposite.
So, I thought that I was too late to start this traveling. I'm 46 and 3/4. And here I am, you're asking me, do I want residency? I was like, I don't know. But I thought I was too late because I was still measuring my readiness, to take the leap and leave the United States through the same rules of the life that was harming me. So,
Yeah.
I looked like I was in harm. You could see it on my face. It dominated all of my conversations, and life has changed. Life is easier. And that's what I want for Black women, right? I want to be able to create more of the conditions for us, really, Black women who are leaving DEI jobs, DEI professions, come to the front, because Black women, we deserve rest. I want to create those conditions for rest and recover and reimagine and dream again and dream again and dream again. Lives that don't require us to recover from.
That's right. That's right. So house sitting through Trusted House Sitters gives you free accommodation, but most house sits, all house sits on Trusted House Sitters and most house sits period are unpaid. So
Right.
are you just eating air for nourishment?
Great question. So one step before, I sold my house in Baltimore before my one-way ticket. I'm traveling. I saved up $40,000 before. And at the time I was thinking, well, when the money runs out, then I'll know that I need to go get another DEI job. Of course, my mindset has shifted since then. So no, I am coming from a place where I saved money. Again, I have no children, and nobody else gets my money except for me. And so I am able to support myself in that way.
Good. Fantastic. So one thing, okay, I have beefs with Black excellence, but one thing Black excellence did is it forced Black women into home ownership. And those homes, there's a little moolah in them homes. So I'm a fan of selling the casa to live your life.
Sell the casa.
Viva la vida.
I'm sorry, Stephanie?
I was just saying, viva la vida. I'm just talking. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, I had a family meeting. I said, okay, here are my steps. I'm going to be leaving. Do we want to keep this house in the family? Do you think your kids are going to go to Howard or go to Morgan or just be on the East Coast? Should I hold this house for anything? Everybody was like, no, go ahead, sell the house. I sold the house. I wasn't living there. Had already moved back to the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm living in Berkeley. And I don't need that house. I'm so happy that I don't have it. Being an absentee landlord, no, struggle. No. So I released that.
Yeah.
I started to lighten my financial load. I moved into a smaller apartment. I thought about all the ways where money is going. And instead of earning more money, I just required less money. I lived a life that felt smaller. Now I'm living big, but it felt smaller as far as what I was carrying with me and what I was responsible for.
Yes, Rashida and I just had this conversation the other day, and I was like, we want to live smaller. She was like, I don't know. She wasn't feeling the word, but she said more intentional.
Yeah,
and I was like, yes, everything is what I chose. Everything in my life is something that I chose and I allowed to be here, not that somebody else gave me, pushed on me, that I took on because I felt like nobody else was going to take it on. So smaller, I understand it 100%. Some women are like, no, I don't like that word. Just use intentional. Fill in the blank. Okay.
Intentional.
But smaller is exactly how I would describe it as well.
Yeah, I travel with a backpack and a carry-on. And I'm doing long-term sits. And that's one of the things I can hope I coach other women in. Is like, how do you book a long-term international sit in the country or the region that is on your travel bucket list? But you just said that in the conversation with the previous guest about you can always go back. So yeah, okay, try on the more intentional life, the smaller life, and see if it feels good. See how your health increases, and then if you don't like it, go back to where you were. I bet you won't, though. I bet you won't.
Bet you won't. Absolutely won't. But it's for some people, they need a little safety, a little security blanket. And that's a security blanket. We think of making a change as burning everything down. You can burn it down, but you also can leave it there, kind of semi there, rickety,
Yeah.
and then go back to it if you need to.
That's right. That's right.
So tell us about tell us about your business. Tell us what you do and how we could follow you and learn from you.
Yeah. So I am the founder of this movement, Harvesting Ease, right? I want more Black women in my own network, in my relationships, to live and feel like how I feel. Not because it makes the world a better place, not because we'll be better employees, for the sake of us. So, I'm building this ecosystem on how to help Black women harvest more ease, recognize that struggle and hustle and grind are not to be connected with our purpose. We need rest and clarity and buoyancy and space to think about where we are and think about where we want to be and ask ourselves constantly, what's the best that could happen? What is the best that could happen?
Yes.
And move in that direction. Yes. That's what we're doing over at Harvesting Ease. So it's a community for Black women. You can find me on the school platform, Harvesting Ease with JRC. You can same name across 3 platforms. So you can find me on TikTok, Harvesting Ease with JRC. I have a YouTube channel and also a school community.
All right. I will put links in the description of this video when we're finished, friends. If you just look her up anywhere, you'll find her. Okay. If you look Jennifer up anywhere, you'll find her. Harvesting Ease with JRC. Okay. And I should have had your YouTube channel up already, but I apologize. I'll get it up. It won't be long. It won't be long. How do you like the community? How do you like doing this inside of a community? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people,
it's the only way to do this.
Do things like that. Yeah.
I love it. It's the only way to do it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that if you have, particularly when you're serving or when you're working with Black women, it's really wonderful to be in community with them too. Some people would do a digital download. Here's my course, right? Like House Sitter School. There's no community with House Sitter School. It's a download, which I'll link to which is already linked in the description. But when you do things inside of a community, I asked you how you feel, and then I'm answering how I feel. It's amazing. It's wonderful to be in community with Black women. We're at a time in the world where things are very isolated, and we think of online and online business as being so solo and isolating. But being in community with people is amazing. It's top tier. It's fantastic.
That's the only way I want to go, with a Black woman. That's it.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, Jennifer, anything we didn't talk about while I think Zerline is ready for us. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to add into the conversation today?
I appreciate you, and I am extending an open door to the woman who heard what we were talking about and said, this is for me. Come harvest ease with me, sis.
Let's do it. Okay.
Together.
So you can't embrace ease until it's harvested. Okay. We got to grow it. We got to have it in our arms. I really love this name. I really love the name.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Stephanie. It's been a joyful experience.
Thank you for coming in and reporting back and letting me know, but also everyone else know what is on the other side of these hard decisions. These are sometimes very hard decisions. I appreciate you. And the chat, when you go back and you look at the chat, when you watch the replay, if you do, you'll see how everyone is just in love with you. I'm sorry. Y'all, leave her alone. Leave Jennifer,
Sending
let her
love
have
to
some
everyone. I'm so happy. You have the best community. This like
Yes,
amazing.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I do believe that as well. Thank you. Nice to see you. I'll see you over in the Heartbeat community.
That's right.
And hopefully I'll see you sometime soon. Maybe our houses will cross paths sometime soon.
I would love it.
Take good care.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Zerline, are you ready? Ready? Okay. I'm going to pop you up on the screen. Okay. Hey. Good morning for you. It's still, it's morning for all of us. Good morning.
Good morning. So happy to be here. How are you?
Uh-oh. Great. So how are you? There's a delay, but it's not terrible. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi all. I am Zerline Hughes School. I am a writer, ghostwriter, journalist, and I am a traveler. I have been in Baja California Sur / all of Mexico for the last year with my husband. I'm really happy to be here and share some of what's been happening.
Mexico, Baja California Sur is being well represented today because that's where
Yeah.
Jennifer is. I don't know if y'all know each other, but I need to make sure that
We
y'all connect
don't.
somehow.
Absolutely.
she's
Like
there.
we're in the same area. We're in the same area. I've got to definitely figure out where she is. So hopefully she will sing a little note in the comments.
Okay, good. So you said you've been in Baja California Sur for how long? I'm sorry.
So I'm traveling with my husband, or living here. We have been here in Baja California for about 9 months. We started, however, traveling, but just kind of nomading around Mexico. So we left Washington, D.C. 1 year ago, 1 year and 2 months ago.
Oh, good. So then, okay, good. So you did some nomad stuff. So do you feel like Baja California Sur is where you're going to live for a while, or are you just bopping there and it just happened to be a long bop?
Oh, good question. So let me start, if I can start a little bit of the story. So we said we're kind of done with the US, but the budget was not ready for anything. So we said, okay, let's do 4 months. We had already gotten our temporary residency because we knew we just wanted some kind of residency somewhere in case things pop up. So in the last week of May, around Memorial Day weekend, we said, okay, we're done. 4 months, that's what our budget could sustain in Baja California Sur, because that's where we had originally gotten our temporary status. 4 months came and went, and we did not want to leave. So we made it 6 months at the end of the year. And we were like, we want to go back to DC in January. It's too cool. And so we've been here since. But in between those 4 months, we said, you know what? La Paz, where we are right now in Baja California Sur, La Paz was wonderful, but maybe there was something better. And so, of course, I listened to you, and we signed up for Trusted House Sitters. And we traveled from La Paz to Guadalajara, did a sit for just 2 weeks. We traveled from Guadalajara to San Miguel de Allende, stayed there for 2 months. And then we did a little Mexico City, which was not my thing at all. It was just too big, but we tried it. And then we came back to La Paz. We said La Paz really is our paradise. But just to be sure, a few months later, after we had gotten our apartment in La Paz, we signed the lease and everything. We tried Oaxaca City. And again, too busy, but like we gave everything, but we gave a lot of cities and states a chance.
You sure did. Okay, yeah, Sandra said you hit all the hot spots. Okay, you sure did. Okay, fantastic. So 4-month budget got stretched because of house sitting. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay, good
Exactly.
planning. And then
we saved thousands of dollars.
Yeah, not having to pay for a place to stay will change your life. And so now you're back. Are you house sitting? So I just put some things together that you're gonna be like, duh, Stephanie, but I want to talk about. So are you house sitting right now in La Paz or in Baja California, sir?
So yeah, we are. We are house sitting for 3 months. Two dogs and a cat. We've got a pool outside. We've got a rooftop. We've got all this bohemian stuff going on. Um, and we actually broke our lease. We had a 12-month lease. There were a few shenanigans going on with the landlord situation. And we found another pet sit that was more long term, which is where we are now. So we said, you know what? Let's just break it and keep it moving.
Yeah, things happen, girl. I ain't. Yeah. So you know what? You're Angela Zerline. Are you Angela Zerline?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just put that together. I don't connect the dots. You have to tell me everything from the very beginning. So I house sat for Angela while she was in Baja California hanging out with y'all. I was in San Miguel while she was hanging out with y'all. Oh, so nice to meet you.
But I've been
All
following you
right.
for years, so I know you.
Yes. Okay. And I think you were I looked, so when everyone raised their hand, I made a post in Heartbeat, y'all. And this is how I found the wonderful ladies who are talking with us today. And I think you were in 2023 Exodus Summit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the theme of that one, but you were in the Exodus Summit during 2023. So is that how you know Angela, or did you know Angela from somewhere else?
So there's you have to know. It's the chats, it's the WhatsApps from
Okay.
Exodus, it's the Facebook conversations and DMs on from Exodus, and now it is the heart the Heartbeat app
Yeah.
as well. So it is an Exodus. I don't think I made any connections through the chats and everything through Exodus, the events, but outside is when you have to get, networked. So I met
Yeah.
Angela through, I think, WhatsApp. I asked if there are any Black women in Baja California Sur, because there are no Black people in Baja California, whether it's Norte or Sur, except for if you ask the network. She connected me with a person who had been here for 20 years before it became the trend or, the answer to just kind of being
Uh-huh.
stress-free and untethered. And I still had not yet met Angela. So I became friends with her friend. I kind of stole her friend. And then out of nowhere, Angela was in San Miguel de Allende at the same time. She was moving while I was there just sitting. So I showed her a
Uh-huh.
picture. I showed Angela a picture of the house that I was staying at. And guess what she said? She said, "Oh my God, I know that window. It's outside of my backyard." San Miguel is
Ah.
small, but it's not that small. And so when
Uh-huh.
she opened her door, she's right there. My backyard, we're just
That's
like
funny.
backyard neighbors, like that show Home Improvement. And so then her friend from Baja California came to visit San Miguel, and so we had a little reunion, or our first time meeting all together. So the connections make all the difference.
Yes. Exodus Summit, that's one thing that we do. So Exodus Summit, Rashida and I started Exodus Summit to help Black women move abroad or spend time abroad. We've done, and we've done that very well, 7 years. But what we've done even better is connected Black women, right? Connected Black women to other Black women. We have helped people find their friend, their sister, their soul sister. And it's something that we didn't even expect would happen. So I'm glad that you connected with some people through Exodus Summit, or really tangentially through Exodus Summit. So let's talk about
Hey,
timing. Let's talk about how you leaving you and your family, you and your spouse, it's more than just you and your spouse though, right? Or is it just,
no, sadly.
oh, okay.
So the
Sorry. I didn't say
plan,
it like that.
no, it's all good. No, the plan was it's 17 years old. I was going to raise my children anywhere else but the United States. But I kept getting an emergency after emergency. Like literally, the roof of our house blew off during some strange DC tornado or something. Our toilet overflowed. became a whole sewage mess, ruined the drywall, had to move out of the house for a year. Thank God Liberty Mutual or we had a great plan with Liberty Mutual where it set us up in an Airbnb. Um, but we just had all these emergencies. And then within like a few months, maybe a year of my plan to move me and the kids to Costa Rica, I met a man. And he was very nice and kind and blah, blah, blah. But he wasn't yet onto my whole plan. He was like, international, what are you talking about? So we needed a passport for him. So that's been a deal breaker, but love is love. And so I had
Okay.
to kind of do some messaging and marketing around this is why, we can move. Let's try it out just for a little bit, just by traveling. And it worked, but it took about 15 years. With that being said, we made it. I used my communications degree, my journalism degree, couples counseling as well. So it's a real thing now. You gotta, if you are partnered up, there's gonna be some negotiation. There's gonna be some strategy. There's gonna be some, everyone's gotta be willing, but you gotta move at that pace. So that's a really tough thing. In addition to all the other things that can traditionally hold us back.
Okay. Okay. So you said that you had to do some marketing to him. What was it that convinced him? First of all, I want to say, no, I don't what was it that convinced him? What was the marketing strategy? What was it that convinced him to be like, okay, let's try 4 months?
So I think it was the pace of work. I work remotely. I was working remotely before working remotely was even a thing as a writer and a contractor. But he was on the road, driving, being a courier. He was a Brinks driver, which meant he had all that stress carrying a gun and people looking, trying to steal the money. And he considerably got tired of it. And so whenever he would complain, so I could like, see, this is one, I would just inch in anytime that there was some opportunity to say there's something fair. I don't know if there was just like one particular moment, but I think he also wanted to make me happy. So that was important. Well, I was experiencing stress as well. Stress at all my jobs. I was a full-time communications director at one point. In the field of criminal justice, juvenile justice, and racial justice during the first term. So I was just frazzled. So I needed something, and vacations, 5-day long vacations, wasn't doing it. So I think he saw that as well. So there's a lot of different things that worked. And then the longer our vacations got, he didn't want to leave. And so that was it. We were able to, try it.
That's my favorite tactic. It's one of the reasons that we do international meetups so often, because sometimes just getting there, and especially if you can be there for weeks, it's going to convince you. Or you bring your partner, your spouse, bring them. It's going to convince them. If you can get out and stay out for a little bit of time, it's going to be harder for them to come back, just like it is for you. Just like you, when we start trying to come back to the United States, we're like, oh, here we go again. They're going to feel that same way. It's a nice little sneak tactic.
Right.
Try a little bit of time and see if we can extend it. And they're hooked.
Exactly. And now we don't even want to go back to the US. Like our house is still in DC because we still have the kids. I'm 21, 23, and 28 years old. And we want to have some, a little legacy for them or something. But I would love, I don't know, I still like having that little bitty piece of DC because it was quite a thing trying to get a piece of DC. But see that mindset is still there, property, and that's what weighs so many of us down. And that was part of the conversation. What are we going to do with the house? What are we going to do with our skin? But because of the kids, I'm keeping it, but like writing in the will or something, like if you want to sell it just to move out of the country, okay, that's fine. Otherwise, keep it so that you have some protections based on the whole American philosophy and benefits and options.
It's nice to not have to make that decision up front, right? If there are other people, if like right, your kids are in their 20s, if there are other people who can take care of things, it's nice to have that cushion, right? To not have to take care of, to not have to make the decision. For other people, like me, myself personally, I couldn't get rid of my stuff fast enough in my house fast enough. But you don't want to feel forced into any decision. But yeah, it's nice to be able to take your time and decide. And it's nice that house sitting has helped with that too. But it's nice to be able to be like, maybe the kids want to stay here, maybe not, maybe we'll sell it, but you have options and you don't feel blocked in, like hemmed into anything.
Definitely. What I want to say,
Okay, I'm testing.
I want to talk about minimalism. That's a super important thing in this. So during, the time that we were out of our house for about a year, I realized how much stuff we had because we had to move stuff out and put it back in. And then we have to go to a place, it was temporary, we have to move it there. I was done with it. And so I actually listened to the Afro Minimalist Guide to Living with Less. I don't know if anyone, tell me in the chat if you know about this book, by Christine Platt. It tells you from a cultural perspective
Christine, yeah.
why, yes. Was she an Exodus test?
She spoke at one of the Exodus summits. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
then again, very good. The folks can put that recording or find her or something. She changed my life. Instead of reading the book while I was packing, I carried it in my ear. So she's telling me, girl, get rid of all this stuff. And so we are now very similar to Jennifer, trying to live as minimalist with a backpack. It's not working because it takes a long time to take care of all the things and to get rid of. But it's a good training. You don't need the stuff. You don't need the stuff. Christine Platt talks about the cultural connection and history to why we do hold on to all these things and what we can take away and get rid of, and some of the things that we can't keep. But that is, in addition to having a house, your stuff is a big hindrance as well. So just ask folks to recommend, consider that book and how they're moving through life, the things that we collected.
Yes, good point. I'll drop that in the description later. Christine Platt is the author of the Afro Minimalist Guide. That's the end of the title, right? It was Guide to something. We'll get it in there. Okay. Yeah, she was a speaker at an Exodus summit maybe 3 years ago. It's hard to say. 7 years in, it's hard to say what year was what. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So minimalism has helped y'all be more flexible and be where, like, pick up and go when you want to go somewhere and not feel tied down. I think that a lot of times when we start talking about moving abroad, I think not enough people, let me say it like this, not enough people leave the country without setting up roots or putting down roots somewhere else. I think it's really nice to not have a lease that you need to navigate around or a home that you own in another place. It's really nice to be able to be like, where do we want to be? Right? What do we want to experience for the next few months? Who do we want to visit for this period of time? It's really nice. I was a nomad for 9 years and 9 months, and now I have rent, and I'll be like, I'm staying myself at home. I'm staying home because
Get
I
your
have
money's
ties
worth.
down, right? But it was real nice for those 9 years to be like, I can go wherever I feel like it, right? Not having to have so much stuff with you makes it so much easier. Although it doesn't have to be. Jennifer is extreme, I think. The one suitcase in a backpack, I think that's pretty extreme, right? And that's not going to work for everyone, but enough stuff where if you want to go somewhere, you can just pack it up and go. That really does feel good. It really does feel freeing. And it feels like the world is yours. That's how I felt.
Absolutely. And also when you're traveling, oh my gosh. So when you're traveling, your shoulder is not going to be, out of whack if you have a few things. You're not going to argue with your spouse about him, carrying everything, because that happened as well before we started trying to minimalize things. And also the airlines, I don't know if it's just Mexico, the airlines are charging almost more than the plane ticket for your extra items. They want you to have a backpack, and that's it. So,
Mhm.
if you're trying to save money, then, get rid of the strip.
I agree. I think you were done with that. I don't want to cut in. Okay, okay. So we're having the internet got choppy. It was good and then choppy and then good and then choppy. But can you tell us about La Paz? Tell us what you like about the Baja California Sur, that part of Mexico. You said there's not a whole lot of Black people, so do some recruiting. Okay,
Right.
convince some Black women to come to BCS.
Absolutely. So La Paz is in the state of Baja California Sur, which is below Baja California Norte, of course. Or most people may know Baja California Norte because that's where Tijuana is, Rosarito, right at the border of San Diego. So we are 23 hours driving away, or about an hour and a half away from the border of California, the San Diego area. What that means is we're at the bottom of the peninsula, on the Sea of Cortez. That is big because it's not the Pacific Ocean. It feeds into the Pacific Ocean, but the waters are super clear. There's no waves. So if you are a wave girl like me, you're going to miss the waves. But just an hour north, or less, you can find some waves, so it's okay. And we are famous for, deep sea fishing and swimming with the whale sharks. Is it whale sharks? Yeah. And which is very safe because they don't have teeth, so they can't chomp on anything. It is famous for, being a protected area, and watching the whales during, I think, December through March. So you've got all this beauty, all these things that you can do, and depending on who you know, you can get on somebody's boat for free and just explore. What you also have is the Malecón, which is
Yeah.
11 miles of, kind of like a boardwalk area, which includes a bike lane. You could see the sea the whole way up and down. On the other side of the street, you've got your clubs and your cafes and your restaurants. And it's just a beautiful sight. And one of my favorite things, is at sunset, people just stop and turn like they're zombies, to look at the sunset. And it happens just about every night. People know it's time to stop and appreciate what they have. And we got wrapped into that very quickly. No matter where we are, the rooftop here, or a quick walk to the beach, it's sunset time. It's time to just put it all off and enjoy. And I think that whole sentiment is shared by folks that are from here and visiting here. It is a capital city, La Paz, and it's also, county. So it's 200,000 folks, but it feels super tiny. Oaxaca City is about 200,000, but it's very dense. Everything's very close together, which is not my cup of tea. So I really appreciate, the small city vibe, but you still have your Walmart if that's your thing. You still have your big box stores like Home Depot, but you also have the ferreterias, the small, hardware stores that you want to, patronize because they're locals. And it's just a slow vibe, but they still conduct business because it's a capital city. So I'll stop there. Happy to see any questions in there, but we love it. Temperature, and then I'll stop. That's the one thing. So in
I'm
the summer,
I'm a fan of La Paz. Yeah.
see, yes,
So,
summer, most people leave. The people even who live here, they leave, the snowbirds, because you can't get to about 105. But,
mhm.
otherwise, you're spending Christmas in 75 to 80-degree weather. So it's between 75 to 105 degrees year round.
Yeah, I spent a winter there, maybe 2022. I don't really know. It was a winter. I stayed there for 3 months, I think, 3 or 4 months.
Oh,
And it's really delightful. And I remember looking up too, like how many people live here? Because where are the people at? It's not crowded, but there are some nice big grocery stores. I'm a grocery store girly. I like to be able to go and get all my needs met. I know in Mexico, it's common to go to the butcher shop to get your meat, and you
Yeah.
go to the panaderia to get your bread and and you go to the vegetable man to get your vegetables. But I also just like to go to the grocery store and get it done. And there were some big grocery stores. And then I was just there a few months ago, and was it a big Chedraui there's some new big grocery store down there. I was like, oh, look
Yeah,
at La
Shadrali
Paz. So they're
Selecto.
Selecto. Yes.
So
Yeah.
they
So I was
have
like,
all
look
the
at this, La
fancy deli
Paz.
items and everything.
Yeah, it's a delightful town. That's all I can say. Delightful. And people were very kind to me. I was there it must have been 2021. It was the first real COVID winter, right? So COVID, yeah, it was the COVID winter 2021. So I didn't do very much. I had a Airbnb that had like a little patio with some cactus and stuff. So I just sat out there. But when I did leave the house, people were very kind, and it was a delightful place. I'm a fan of La Paz. So I hope this acts as a recruitment video. Some of y'all will go check it out. Some of you who want some warm, dry air, go check it out.
Yeah. And still, you get the
So
beach breeze. So it works out. It balances out.
yes, yeah, I think it's a delightful place. Tell us about your writing. Tell us about your work. And is there some place we can follow you?
Absolutely. Thank you. So, as I said, I'm a journalist and a ghostwriter. I have been writing since ever. I went to Howard University and was a part of their journalism program. So HU, if anyone's out there. And I write about criminal justice, all the things that I did when I was in the public relations world. So criminal justice, juvenile justice, education, racial justice. I've now added uh, health in the way of our care economy, caregiving, because that's a very important thing for so many of us right now. Like me, who's in the sandwich generation, caring for kids, grown kids, and my parents. Hey, there you go. That's how we know each other.
That's Jennifer.
And
Yeah.
so I still write about those for various publications. And I'm now, since I am, traveling, I've dedicated the last year and a half for the most part to um, traveling. I am starting up sojournalisms, sojourning, traveling and journalism. So sojournalisms. And so I will be talking about, just what it really is like, not the highlight reels, not um, the reels around this is what I ate and this is how much it costs, but more so there's roaches here because of the weather. So let's get used to it. This is what you do, how to navigate things. And so it will be on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. That should be actually starting next month. And I will also have a Beehive newsletter, not Substack, because there's a few little politics behind the folks who run Substack. So you can check me out on Beehive. And again, I'm writing with my journalistic eye around what I'm experiencing, a little bit about how to do it, but more so just what it really feels like. So that can be helpful to other people.
Is your newsletter on Beehive also called Sojournalisms?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So I'll link to them if you don't mind. I should have asked the other ladies. Will you email me these links as well? I'll put them in the description.
This morning.
I'll do my best. But if you email that to me, I'll make sure that they're right. Okay. All right. So we'll look for your newsletter over on Beehive, Sojournalisms, and then we'll patiently wait for you said they're coming. TikTok and YouTube are coming. Is that what you said?
Yes. They're already there,
Okay,
so I
that's
think
what
you
she
can
said,
start
yeah.
to follow.
Okay.
Being here
They
now, I
already
gotta do it. I
exist.
gotta do it.
You just haven't. Now you got to do it. That's right. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Is there anything else that you wanted to share before we go?
So Exodus is fantastic. Even if you just go to one conference, in the 7 years, right? Just you're going to get so much out of it. And then if you become part of the network, again, you're going to feed off of the energy. I actually went to some of the DC citizen groups and, appreciated being
Good.
around people in person. There's Sisters Who Sit, who I think learned about this from you. So I'm part of that. So the network is really important. You want to just be around people that are doing what you want to do. And you guys can be in partnership. So definitely put up with the Exodus family.
Yeah, that's Diamond. Diamond has a group called Sisters Who Sit, and
Yes.
they they share house sit information and things. So there is a
Many
Black
things.
woman community of house sitting that is really active. I be in there sometimes poking around. But there's a very active community of Black women house sitters. And thank you. I just saw in the private chat that you did drop your links. So thank you for doing that. So you don't have to email me. So thank you. Yeah. All right. So this is the Beehive. And then you've also linked to your, are you okay with the link? Let's see, you okay with me posting your LinkedIn? Okay,
Yes, please,
writers,
of course.
writers like, okay, writers like the
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
if you are an editor, a publisher, if you need someone to write for your nonprofit, I'm your girl. So reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Boom. All right, thank you for sharing those with me. We'll drop them in the chat. Community is crucial, you're absolutely right. And so thank you for sharing with us how that has impacted you and your spouse and y'all's move and your time abroad. It was really nice to hear that you were like, 4 months wasn't enough. Let's do 6. Okay, well now, I don't know. We're still gone. You don't have to have everything down to the day planned, right? Sometimes we want to go with the flow. That's been a really common theme today. Surrendering control, right? So that you can live better. So it's nice to see how y'all are doing that as well. Tell Mr. Zerline I said hi, and I'm so glad to meet you.
You as well, finally. And thanks to everybody.
Yes.
Looking forward to seeing you at some of the additional conferences.
Thank you. Take good care.
Okay.
All right, friends. So listen, I always have an agenda, and my agenda was for you to see that just because it's not the right time for you to move abroad doesn't mean you don't still go. Just because it's not the right time for you to leave the country doesn't mean you don't leave the country, right? Zerline, it took her, now she said 15 years to convince her husband. He must be worth it, right? He must be worth it. Hello, Mr. Zerline. Jennifer had a career or careers, 2 back-to-back careers that a lot of people would have said, you can't walk away from them now, right? You're only 40. She said she left at 43. Alicia also had a career that people would have said, it's just not the right time. You can't go right now. Michelle has a daughter, my notes are a little choppy today. I'm not the best. But Michelle saw through her mother's illness that she didn't want to age in the United States, right? She didn't want to have to navigate the US healthcare system at an older age, whereas a lot of people would have been like 60. That doesn't make sense to move at 60. You're still working, you're still making money. Either you move in your 20s or you move at 65 or 70, but you don't move before then. And then we started with Johnika, who was 43 also. We have 2 43-year-olds. That's interesting. 43 also when she left, and had aging parents, and her mother was aging and diagnosed with cancer, and her son was only 11 or 12 or something. I don't know. My notes are decent, but not the best. All of these women had a reason to say, it's a bad time. But I hope what you saw on their faces, even if you couldn't hear their words, like, was that, I think that was Jennifer who said that. Even if you can't hear anything, what you should be able to see is how much I love myself, that I look like I love myself. Even if it seems like a bad time, these women are women who took agency, right? Who took things into their own hands. And we're like, let's see, right? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see how good it gets. They say when affirmation that you should use out in the world is show me how good it can get. And so these women are testaments to that. They looked amazing. They look amazing. Everybody was shining bright and smiling. And so I hope that that touched you. And I hope that this stirs something inside of you to take some action for your own self. That's my agenda. I want this video, these conversations to stir you to take some action for you. The action, one action, not the action. I regret saying the. One action that I would take if I were you, and these conversations spoke to me, is that I would come to Exodus Summit 2026. These women, I think 1, 2, 3, I spoke to, how many are on my list? I spoke to 5 women. 3 of them definitely attended Exodus Summit. 1 is questionable. 1 said she wasn't sure, right? 3 or 4 of these women attended Exodus Summit. Exodus Summit is an online conference where Black women and other people come in and teach you how to do what these women have done, how to move abroad or how to bop around the world as a nomad, how to spend significant time out of the United States. Exodus Summit is online October 9th through 12th, 2026. And right now we're in the early bird ticket phase. So prices are the lowest they're going to be. Prices for Exodus Summit 2026 are the lowest they're going to be. So get your ticket at exodussummit.com. This year, we're focusing on where. Not all of the sessions will be about where. Not all of the sessions will be location-based. So if you know you want to move abroad and you know where you're going, it's still worth it to come to Exodus Summit. But most of the sessions for Exodus Summit 2026 will be around where is the place in the world that will have you glowing and shining like these places have these women. How do you find your version of Bordeaux, France, or Baja California, La Paz, Mexico? How do you find the place that's going to be the best fit for you? And then we have a second session on, so how do you actually move there? How do you get residency there? How do you qualify to live there? We'll have some experts. So we'll have some Black women sharing their experiences, their lifestyle, their healthcare experiences, their experiences with learning the language and what it's like to live there, building community, what it's like to live in that place. And then we also have the immigration attorney and or residency facilitator coming in to teach you how do you get there and how do you stay there? How do you live there? Exodus Summit is an online summit. It's a weekend. It's Indigenous Peoples Weekend or Columbus Day weekend, October 9th through 12th, 2026. Get your ticket, exodussummit.com. This is our 7th year. What we do is we get Black women and their families out the door. What we do is we take them from, you know what, it's a good idea and I'd like to do it, but I don't think it's possible. Or if it's possible, it's not going to be possible for 5 or 6 years. To next summit, I'm watching the next summit from abroad. Jennifer said every summit, she's in a different country, right? She went to Exodus Summit, I think Jennifer said 2022 or 2023. She learned how to house sit. You're welcome. And since then, for every Exodus Summit, she's been in a different place. That's what I want for you. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life, but that's what I want for you. So join us in Exodus Summit 2026. Amina Hamed, hi Amina, Hamid, sorry. Sabbaticals are valid. So sometimes when we talk about move abroad, it's just because that is the easiest package to put it in. Right? But some of these women in our community, including me, do coming and going, leave the US for a while, and then you come back to the United States. We call that a sabbatical in this space, right? Some time where you're not focusing on work and where you leave the United States of America. That is a valid way to leave the country and to experience the benefits that these women are experiencing for yourself, sometimes without having to make the permanent decision, without having to sell all of your stuff and get rid of your house and decide, figure out all of those things. A sabbatical is a valid way to leave the United States and fill your tank, take care of you, love on you, in a easier way. It's easier. right? That's why I started out that way, because it was easier than moving permanently. Inside of the Exodus ASAP membership. Now, I don't want to get y'all confused, okay? Exodus Summit online, October 9th through 12th. We're talking about where in the world is the place for you and how do you get there? How do you live there? How do you stay there? Now, inside of the Exodus ASAP coaching membership, September is sabbatical month, okay? So if you would like to figure out how to leave work for a while, put work down, or at least scale work back significantly and go somewhere in the world and sabbatical, then Exodus ASAP is, you're invited to the Exodus ASAP coaching membership. September is sabbatical month. That's exodusasap.com. I'm gonna get that link for you right now. Okay, so Exodus ASAP is focusing on sabbaticals for the month of September 2026. Okay, Exodus Summit is a once-a-year event that is October 9th through 12th, exodussummit.com. And then these women, I told you that I made a post in the Exodus Summit community. That community is exodussummit.com/community. Okay, so we're talking about 3 different locations, same overall group of people, but 3 different functions. Okay, so Exodus Summit online conference, October 9th through 12th. Early bird tickets are on sale now, exodussummit.com. Exodus ASAP is our monthly coaching membership. That's a year-round monthly coaching membership. exodusasap.com. September, we're focusing on sabbaticals. And then the Exodus Summit community, where I found these women, where they're in there having conversations, is exodussummit.com/community. All of these links are in the description. If you're confused, ask me a question right now before we go. I'm looking for some links. I'm gonna drop some links. Then I'm gonna go make me some breakfast. Cheryl brought me some grits. Me and Anita been in this house eating grits for breakfast. I have grits, eggs, cheese. There's some fruit here, tea. About to make some breakfast. I may have some toast. I'm super hungry right now. Make some toast, coffee, of course. I'm looking for the Exodus Summit community link. So if you have a question, ask me a question now. If not, I'm going to assume that you understood what you picked up what I was putting down, and you know what step to take next. I'm assuming if you're not asking me a question, you know the next step to take. Action. What we learned from these women is you take action. We learned from these women that you don't count yourself out and say, oh, it's bad. It's a bad time. It's too late. It's too early. So-and-so don't want to go, right? We learned you take action. You don't count yourself out. And we learned you get in community. Surprise, surprise. You can do all of these things at Exodus Summit 2026. All of these things will be taken care of in Exodus Summit 2026 if you come and you do your part, right? You get your ticket, you show up, and you do your part, which is getting in community with people. Accountability groups happen during Exodus Summit. In particular, if you have an all-access pass, they meet in salons. You'll be able to actually get on Zoom calls with other women who are interested in going to the places you're interested in going to. You'll get to meet them, form community and accountability groups with them, and then make progress together. Okay. All right. So Amina, okay. So I didn't confuse Amina. She says, looking into Exodus ASAP will be at the summit, exclamation point. Okay. So we'll see you at the summit. And hopefully we'll see you in the Exodus ASAP membership. Okay. Time to eat. Time to eat. The Great Migration 2.0. I think I know your face. Is that Blair? I don't think that's Blair. Hi, The Great Migration 2.0. Hi, I love your name. I love the screen name. I can't wait to hear more from, is this Alicia? No, Michelle. I can't wait to hear more from her about her dissertation, and I can't wait to talk to her more. I know that there is a great migration happening. I'm aware of it. I've never thought about the differences I've thought about the difference being this migration is abroad compared to the Great Migration that happened to the north from the south. But I've never thought about the difference in why. I can't wait to go back and rewatch this video. I've never thought about the difference in why and how it's led by Black women and how it's because of our agency, because of our desire to have the say in our own lives. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited. I can't wait to talk to her again and again and again. Ailey, okay, so confused about how to navigate the community. Our community is over on a platform called Heartbeat. We left Facebook. So the Exodus Summit community is exodussummit.com/community. $1 to join because we're not on a free platform like Facebook. It's a $1 one-time fee to join. If I was starting over there, I would check out events first and look for a meetup near me or a meetup in a place that I want to go to. September 5th is International Meetup Day for Exodus Summit. So first thing I would do to navigate that community is, well, I would join it and I would say hi first. First thing you do is you say hi. Hi, introduce yourself. And then I would go to events and I would find a meetup and I would sign up to go to a meetup. And then I would look in the sidebar for a place, either the place that the city or town closest to me, or the city or town closest to where I'm thinking I might want to move abroad to or take a sabbatical in. And I would dig into those places. I would read the posts, I would create posts, I would talk to people in those channels. Those are the channels I would focus on. The channel, so like there's a Delaware channel. I'm from Dover, Delaware. Well, I'm not from Dover, Delaware. My parents live in Dover, Delaware. I am from Newcastle, Delaware. I am from Newcastle, Delaware. But anyway, I would go to the Delaware channel. I would say, hey there. I would talk to the women there. And then if I was considering moving to Bogota, Colombia, I would also go to the Colombia channel and I would say, hey there, and I would talk to the women there. That's how I would navigate the community. I hope that was helpful. Alicia, you having a mini meetup in Lisbon? I doubt it's, well, mini is relative. Wonderful. Hello, friends. Okay, nice to see you guys. I'm glad that you enjoyed this. You know, I love doing a round robin video. I apologize for the internet problems. I would say 90% of it was me and 10% of it was their internets around the world. I apologize for that. I appreciate you sticking around and sticking it out. I think that it was worth the hassle. I think that these were fantastic conversations. Will there be focus on families moving abroad? Yes. So because Rashida and I are solo people assume that we don't focus on families, but at least half of the women in our community have some sort of family that they have to make a plan for. So yes, we always do. Our Exodus Summit sessions always are for Black women, whether that's a Black woman with school-age kids or grown kids or child-free. The answer is yes to all of that. Or will there be focus on moving with families? Yes, always is. Okay. All right. Again, what I was saying was thank you for your patience. I think this was fantastic. And thank you to the ladies who took their time out to share their lives and their stories with us. That was very generous of you. So thank you for that. We'll see you over in the Heartbeat community. But thank you for that. And don't forget to follow them. Find their links in the description of this video. Give me an hour. And then you'll find their links in the description of this video. So thank you, Johnika, Michelle, Alicia, Jennifer, and Zerline. Thank you all, friends. Have a great day. I hope you liked this. I hope you enjoyed the way that this shook out. And I'll be talking to more of you. If you saw my post in Heartbeat and you commented and I didn't ask you to be my guest today, don't count yourself out, okay? Some of you had some fantastic, I don't want to call them stories, successes, some fantastic successes, and I hope to talk to you as well. So keep your ears on, keep your ears open. I'll talk to more of you again like this. Okay, thank you. This is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for you to tell me I did a good job. Thank you, Joanna. And thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you guys again. And Rashida's talking to Krishan about Portugal tomorrow on her channel, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Rashida's channel, ROSHIDA is her YouTube channel. We'll see you over there. Okay. Thank you, April. Thank you, friends. It's always wonderful to spend time with you. Again, thank you for your patience. I'll see you guys again. Bye.